What's up, YouTube? Alright, here's what we got going on. I'm about to go to the range tomorrow. Figured I'd clean my gun, and at the same time, I will share with you a video that happened, a plane crash that I was almost in. Very near-death experience. So, let's get to it. The year was 2021, and a good friend of mine, I will leave names out, just for confidentiality. I'm pretty sure he doesn't want this story out there. So, year was 2021. A good friend of mine calls me up and he was like, hey, so I bought a bunch of gold detecting equipment, metal detectors, chemicals, gold panning stuff. He calls me up, he was like, hey, what do you think about taking a helicopter out to the Chakajabena Lake and possibly go find some gold? So I was like, you know what? Yeah, let's plan it out. Let's spend a couple weeks out there. That sounds awesome. Anyway, so 2 days go by, he calls me up and he's like, hey, let's just take out my plane. We'll go do some reconnaissance out there and, you know, we'll just get the lay of the land. And then we'll come back to wasilla. It'll be a couple hour, flight and, no big deal. I was like, you know what? I never back down from, don't say no to something like that. So anyway, we get the plane packed up, and I'll tell you what, we get it packed up with barely minimal anything. Minimal fuel, minimal food, barely any water, no warm clothes. We get the plane packed up, and, we depart out of wasilla. And so we depart and make the 90-mile trek to Chakajabena Lake. And about 10 miles outside, I remember it got way too bumpy, so we dipped down to 500 feet AGL, because just, it's just way too bumpy. We're in a tiny Taylor craft, so. Anyway, I remember seeing the waves when we crested the hill to go to the Chakajabena Lake, and I told him, I was like, dude, the waves are too big for the plane we have. So he was like, you know what? I only put enough fuel to get here. We have to refuel when we're here, when we're on the ground, because we left the fuel in the back seat. So I was like, fucking great. Like, this is how I'm going to die. So anyway, I remember doing our final approach down into the lake. We're on floats, by the way. And I remember so vividly hitting that first wave, because we skimmed across the water for about a good quarter mile, and we hit that first wave, and it was like all the bones cracked in my back, all my back. It was like my neck. It was like a chiropractic visit all in once. And we hit the first wave. He guns it to get out of there. So we hit the first wave, bounces off, gun it. We get up about a good 5 to 7 feet above the waves, and I did that wrong. We get up above the waves about a good 5 to 7 feet, and we get into something that's called a departure stall. And what a departure stall is it's too much induced drag. So you're trying to go up more, you're trying to increase your angle of attack more, and you're getting more induced drag, which that's just slowing you down more. It's called induced drag. Entry into a departure stall, where your ass end of the plane just starts quivering like this. 5 feet above the water, which the waves are about a good another, 2-3 feet. All right, more on a departure stall. I'll leave a video in the description below. This is from Lake Hood in Alaska. Seaplane base that I used to fly out of all the time. This is a perfect example of departure stall. Also, Hoover from Pilot Debrief leaves very, very detailed explanation on what a departure stall is. Go check them out. I'll put a link in the description below. All right, here's the video. anyway, so he decides to put it down. All right, hit that wave again, going down, and we got a good gust of wind to our right, which made the plane tip to the left. Because we're already in a high AOA situation, or there's like no lift on the wings. Tilted to the left, the left tip of the wing starts bouncing on the water, and well, we're bouncing on the water, and I thought that moment, I was like, this is how I die. Not from the plane crash, but from the cold ass water. Anyway, he slows the plane down. He just dumps the power. I remember we got spun around real quick because that wind kind of, I don't know how it did it, but spun us around real quick while the tip of the wing is just doing its thing on the water. Anyway, so now the wind's to, we have a tailwind now, and we're just, water taxing. Might I mind you that the waves were so big that the prop was hitting the water while we're going into the next wave. Like, go down, prop would hit the water. Go up, out of the water, prop in the water. Anyway, about a good 5 minutes of that, the wind is blowing us real fast into this embankment of dead trees that were sticking out of the water. We could do nothing to get away from it. Mind you, this was a big embankment of trees, like huge. So anyway, the wind pushes us into that direction of the dead trees. And I was like, great, we're going to get stuck here. This is how we die. And so anyway, pushes us there. Right before we get into that embankment of trees, we kill the engine just to save the prop. I don't know. We're trying to save as many things as we can at this point. Anyway, so we sit there for about a good 5 to 7, 10 minutes. And with the engine off, just sitting there in that embankment of dead trees. So, like, we couldn't get out either because the water was way too deep. We couldn't turn around because the wind was way too strong. Waves were just fucking horrendous. About a good 10 minutes goes by. He decides to start the engine back up and turn the plane around since we had, minimal to no tailwind. So anyway, he turns the engine back on. We gunned it out of there. And when we gunned it out of there, we went straight and then we turned around. So we're just like puddling around in these embankment of dead twig tree things. Anyway, we get out of there. We find a sandy beach to park the plane and get out. And I remember I don't know why I remember this so vividly, but I remember we got out and he took a shit right away, right on the beach. He just got out and he took a shit. I don't blame him because I was shaken too as well. I was like shooken to the core. Anyway, we sit there for about a good 15 minutes just trying to get the shakes out of us. I don't know if you guys have ever been in a situation where you're just shaking because you're so fucking scared. I guess that would qualify this as one. Anyway, we do a control surface. Like, we're just looking at all the control surfaces, see if anything was damaged because that tip of the wing was really bouncing on the water real good. And we went into that embankment of trees. Anyway, we come to find out that the tip of the wing is bent, which is fine. It'll still fly. Anyway, there's a rip in the wing too as well from going into the embankment of trees. Which is fine because we have duct tape for that. And so we duct tape that up. And he really wants to take back off and go back to Wasilla, which we only have like another about a good hour and a half of daylight, which, you don't need daylight to fly, but it helps. So anyway, I talk him into staying there for the night because I was like, well, we already landed. We're safe right now on the ground. Why don't we just wait till either the wind dies down and we could leave tonight in the dark, or we could wait till the morning. We just camp out. Finally, after about 10 minutes of talking to him, he's like, you know what? Let's spend the night here. I was so relieved to hear that. But at the same time, I remembered we did not bring any tent, no water, no food, nothing. And so we're out there, and it's about to get real cold real quick. So the first thing we do is we start gathering up a shit ton of wood, because I don't want to gather any wood up, in the middle of the night when it's cold as fuck, when there's predators out, when there's wolves out, when there's bears out. Anyway, so we gather up enough wood, and he breaks out these survival sleeping bags, which weigh a pound. They could go on the back of your airplane, which, by the way, any pilots out there, I will try and find them online to see if I could post it in the video of what we used. They're like sleeping bags, but they're like made of tin. And when you crawl into them, they'll overheat you. You'll get too hot. So anyway, we spend the night there, and wake up the next. We didn't get any sleep, by the way, because I couldn't stop thinking about what we just did and why we're still alive. And anyway, wake up the next morning. I remember the lake was it was like a mirror. I was looking into a mirror. There was no wind, calm. It was just cold, which is perfect for flying. So anyway, we get our stuff packed up around 9:10. Let the plane idle for about a good 10 minutes and depart out of the Chakajabena Lake and make it back to the wasilla. I remember that because we ate Denny's that morning. I ate French toast, eggs, and a bunch of bacon. I was really hungry because, our dumbasses didn't pack any food or water. It was real smart over here. Well, anyway, he calls me up 2 days later. He's like, dude, let's go back to the Chakajabena Lake and let's spend like 3 days out there. Let's go hike up a mountain, go find some gold. Me, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to die anyway, so let's see what happens. We go out there, fly out there 2 days later, and we spend 3 days out there. It was so fun. I have a bunch of pictures of us, hiking a mountain and camping. We pretty much just camped. By the way, I was walking on the beach about a half mile away, and I found remnants of a plane wreckage that happened a long time ago. So that lake has claimed some lives, I'm pretty sure. So, yeah, that's my story about a plane crash that I don't know why I'm still alive, but, yeah, so anyway, if you like this content, I have a bunch of stories about flying, mainly helicopters. I have a good one about a bird striking a helicopter. So if you like, I'm just posting any content about helicopters, guns, explosives. You like this content, just like and subscribe. Anyway, peace.